Bob just got approved for a $450,000 mortgage. Bob feels like he just won. After all, the bank looked at his finances and said, yes, you can afford this. But there's a problem. The bank wasn't calculating the life Bob could comfortably afford. It was calculating the largest payment Bob could probably survive. Those are two very different numbers. Because the bank isn't calculating the house that fits comfortably into Bob's life. It's calculating the largest loan Bob can carry while still making payments. And that difference could cost Bob hundreds of thousands of dollars. Today, we're breaking down the real math behind buying a house. By the end of this video, you'll know how to calculate what you can actually afford, why the bank's number is often much higher than yours should be, and what happens when people confuse one with the other. Part 1. The bank's math isn't your math. The bank looks at one thing first: income. More specifically, something called your debt-to-income ratio. In many cases, banks will approve a mortgage as long as your total monthly debt payments, your mortgage plus any other loans or credit cards, stay around 43% of your gross income. Notice that word, gross. Not what actually lands in Bob's checking account after taxes, health insurance, retirement contributions, and everything else has already taken its share. The bank also doesn't know Bob wants kids in a couple of years. It doesn't know his roof might need replacing, or his car could break down next summer. It doesn't know what unexpected problems life will bring. It only knows what Bob earns today. That's why the bank's number and Bob's real number can end up very far apart. Part 2. A simpler number that leaves room to breathe. Bob doesn't need a complicated formula. He needs one number, 28%. A common guideline is to keep total housing costs, including the mortgage, property taxes, and homeowners insurance, at roughly 28% of your gross monthly income. Bob earns $85,000 a year. That's about $7,080 a month before taxes. 28% works out to just under $2,000 a month for housing. Bob has no other debts, so the bank stretches him all the way to that 43% ceiling and approves a payment closer to $12,900. That's a difference of about $900 every single month. The bank sees that $900 as extra borrowing capacity. Bob sees it as money that could have gone toward everything else in his life. Part 3. What that extra $900 really costs. At first glance, it doesn't seem like a big deal. It's just another $900 a month. But that money isn't disappearing. It's going somewhere. Hypothetically, if Bob invested that extra $900 every month and earned an average 8% annual return, it could grow to roughly $1.3 million over 30 years. Bob thinks he's buying a larger house, but what he's really giving up is future flexibility. The difference between the house the bank approved and the house Bob can comfortably afford isn't just a larger mortgage payment. It could mean the difference between having options later in life and being forced to keep working because there was never enough room to build wealth. But the biggest problem hasn't shown up yet. Part 4. Life doesn't stay the same. Your mortgage payment usually stays the same. Life gets more expensive. The bank's approval is based on today's version of Bob, not the life Bob might have 10 years from now. Real life doesn't work that way. 2 years later, Bob and his wife have a baby. Childcare alone now costs $500 to $2,000 every month in many parts of the country. One night, Bob opens his bank app after paying the mortgage. The payment went through, the bills are paid, but when his car suddenly needs a $1,200 repair, he realizes something uncomfortable. He doesn't have a house problem, he has a cash flow problem. Add childcare on top of a mortgage payment that already stretched Bob close to his limit, and suddenly there's very little room left for everything else. Groceries, gas, unexpected repairs, medical bills. The bank never asked whether Bob planned to have children. It never asked whether he'd need a new car, or whether one of them might lose a job for a few months. That's why so many people who technically qualified for a mortgage eventually become house poor. Every paycheck goes toward the house, leaving very little room for the life happening around it. The bank's number tells you what you might be able to pay. It doesn't tell you what kind of life that payment leaves you with. The better question was never, how much house will the bank approve? It's, how much house leaves room for everything else I want my money to do? Bob's approval came in at $450,000. His real number was probably much closer to $310,000. Same salary, same person, a completely different financial future. Before you start shopping for a house, calculate your own 28% number first, then compare it with whatever the bank approves. The gap may be much larger than you expected. Tell me in the comments, what did your bank approve you for, and what does your own math say you can actually afford?